Yeah, welcome to your pandemic marketing. I hope that everybody watching is healthy and safe today. Thank you for making it here. And I think this is a really rich subject, and in no way was I able to get every example of what people are doing. So what I'd love to do is keep this updated as well. If you find examples, if you are the example, I would love to include you in this and spread the word about what everybody's doing. So let's think of it as a ongoing project too. We can add things to it and really see what sticks. Some of the examples I'm going to show to you today are going to apply to you. Some totally aren't, and that's okay because it's an exploration, and it's supposed to, what I really hope is that throughout the presentation, ideas come to you and it becomes an idea generator for you, like a brainstorm presentation. So just a quick note about me. I moved to New York City. Oh, I've got another meeting. Okay. I moved to New York City in the early mid-aughts to get my master's at NYU. And I jumped into the publishing industry and fell in love. And I've been a book person ever since. I'm a published author of both fiction and nonfiction. Adult contemporary sort of women's fiction is the genre that I write fiction in, and then I've done some nonfiction for children and adults. I did work in-house at Penguin and Simon & Schuster before starting my own consulting business, which is Hey Sarah. And I moved to Colorado and love it here, and was lucky enough to keep my New York clients while I work here in Colorado. So obviously, I've got a slide that's stating the obvious here, which is book tours were canceled, school visits were canceled, speaking opportunities, conferences, traditional publicity is almost impossible to get. Well, not impossible. It's hard to get right now. There are a lot of headlines out there competing for the space. But I do think, and I'm very positive about the idea that this created more opportunities than ever for authors. And one of the reasons is that it leveled the playing field. So the big names that were taking up all the endcaps and taking up all the publicity spots are now also not getting those spots. And so they're coming on and competing. So it's really about innovation and really about finding and connecting with readers that will love and embrace your book. So I'm excited about it, and I hope you are too. Books are still selling. I heard that BookScan is reporting fairly steady sales. Audiobooks are on the rise. Unfortunately, indie bookstores are down, but Amazon is really strong and a really powerful place. We're going to talk a little bit about Amazon today. And Bookshop is also doing well. So there are really positive moments here to be had. So moving in, I'm going to nerd alert you. This is a nerd alert moment, but this is the Marketing 101 funnel. So you've probably seen it, but what I find is that a lot of authors really want to focus on this green, yellow, and red zone when they get on social media. They want to post their book, post the link to Amazon, which you have to do. You have to make it easy for people who want to buy it. But a lot of what we're going to be talking about today is up here in the blue zone, in the purpley blue zone, because we want to widen that part of the funnel. We want to widen the different people that you come into contact with and the different people that you connect with. And once we do that and we delight them with the content that you provide, then you're able to bring them down and get their permission and their buy-in. And what you really want, of course, is that red zone where you get people out there spreading the word and selling your book for you. This also ties in with the 80-20 rule, which you probably have heard of, which 80% of the stuff that you share on social media should be about conversation, about what you like, about building engagement, sharing things that create goodwill and good feelings, and then 20 is about telling people what you're up to and asking for things, asking them to buy your book, asking them to review your book, asking. So those are some principles you're going to see, and I'm going to refer to throughout the presentation. Okay, so I came across this quote while I was researching for the presentation, and I just loved it. This is the Quirk Books president. Great content can elevate above the noise of the pandemic. I think it's really true. And I think it's interesting to hear this from a publisher's point of view. I know publishers have had a really challenging time during this, thinking about what they're going to do, thinking about every single book as a unique piece of content. So I wanted to talk for a minute about what publishers are doing with pub dates, because I think it's relevant, and I think it's something important that authors and publishers alike need to really think about. So I have a few examples there, but of why people are moving the pub dates and what the reaction to that has been. So Jeff Kinney is the author of Diary of a Wimpy Kid. He had an April launch planned and moved it to August in the hopes that he could go on his book tour. And of course, now we're further along, and we're not sure that that's going to happen either. But I think it's that was a really painful decision. He wrote about it in an article that I read. It was a painful decision because he knew that it would bring a lot of joy to people, but also one of the joys that he got out of launching new books was to go meet people and to go meet new readers. And so that was a tough decision that he and his publisher made. Meanwhile, on the other end of the spectrum, Jennifer Weiner, who is a client of mine, moved her book from June to May. So she and her publisher, Atria Books, looked at what they had and looked at like if they could do it, if they could work with things, if they could work with the supply chain to get it into bookstores when they needed to, and they could. So early on, I think in early March, they made the decision to move it up and work on the campaign early. So I just think it's really important to look at each book and where it fits into what this is. Now we're looking too at fall, and we're aware that fall is going to be a big crunch too now, because all the books that were pushed back because of the pandemic are now going to be slated for fall, along with all the books that were originally slated for fall. So thinking about those decisions is what it's really on publishers' minds, and there's a lot of action happening. Okay, so authors on video. I hope that everybody saw this list go around. I think you probably did. It's a list of children's authors doing read-alouds and activities online. Obviously, that's the headline. And I'm going to include this in the presentation, but I want to ask you to go back and look at this, because you probably looked at the beginning, but go back and look at it like an information gatherer. Like now we can go back to all these efforts and see what worked, and we can see what engaged people and what grew people's audiences, and where the comments were. So many resources in the beginning of the pandemic that were shared, and I definitely invite you to go back and look at them now and see how they did. Okay, so one of the ones featured in this is Mo Willems, and I'm just going to bring out a few things that he does right. I'm zeroing in on him on this lunchtime doodles. One thing I want to point out is that he displays his books in the background. Now, I know not everybody has plush animals of their characters yet, but I have some ideas for that. And then he's also got swag. He's got things to deepen his relationship with his readers. So these are from Zazzle. This is where you can really give your evangelist something very cool to go out there and spread the word about your book. But it can also be in the background of the videos. So it can also be just deepening that message that this is a really cool character, really cool books. So these are both under $30, a puzzle and a clock that you can get printed with your content, with your illustrations. And it's a cool idea to find ways to engage. It could be used for a giveaway. It could be used for again, like decorations. Okay, all the videos that I'm going to point to in this talk, they're clean and tidy, they're well lit, and all of the people are doing something other than holding their book up and saying, I want you to buy my book, or having someone else do that. So there's this other level of engagement. So I think solving for that other level of engagement is going to be what really makes this fun and really lets you sink your teeth into building your brand. So one more Mo, I promise this is the last Mo, but what I really wanted to talk about here is that the videos that he created, and again, lots of the examples in this presentation follow these rules. They are a series. There's several different episodes, and they have cool thumbnails. Okay, so little things in theory, but they make a big difference. When you're trying to catch someone's attention and bring them back again, the episodes and having a series brings people in at all these different points. And then it just gives you all these different points of contact, all these different moments where you can put in different keywords and different searches that apply to your book. So the series is really smart on several different levels. Okay, here's another example. So this is much more simple and much less author focused. It's just a story time. This is just the author reading through the book. He did not read all the realies. In the comments, they were like, you didn't read all the realies. But a great video, very simple. Simple, neutral background, and then a designed red border that makes it all feel on brand, like it all fits. So I think this is really lovely. Transitioning over to Instagram TV, IGTV is a powerful tool that people are using now. Many authors haven't necessarily jumped in, and I understand why it feels like you're starting from zero and that feels hard. But I think that there's a lot of great examples of ways that you can start from zero and make it feel really engaging. So IGTV is 2 years old. Your Instagram feed post videos can be 60 seconds long. IGTV lets you post up to 10 minutes on most accounts and an hour on larger accounts. You can see someone's IGTV posts with this, where this fancy little arrow is pointing. And then if you do Instagram lives, which we'll touch on a little bit later, you can also post them to Instagram TV and save them. Okay, so this is an example. This is the first example of IGTV I wanted to share with you. I wanted to talk about thumbnails because these are clearly curated. They're not blurry, or they're not, you know, they're chosen. So she followed the thumbnail rule. She's also followed the nice background rule. She's got a nice background. But what I like about it maybe the most is that she's a real person in them. So I came across her story in Publishers Weekly. She pitched her publisher the idea of posting these Instagram videos. So I think these went up on her publisher's page as well, of her reading her own writing when she was 16. So she was leading up to the pub date of her book, Bookish and the Beast, and she created this series. So I am going to click over. So here she is.
Oh, I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm actually doing this. Okay, so The Abyss by A.N. Holston. You know, at least I got that right. I probably could have sold a lot more books if I went by A.N. Holston instead of Ashley.
Okay, and one of the main things I really wanted to emphasize here with what she did is that she had this idea and then pitched it to her publisher, who then took the idea and helped her blow it up. And also what I love about what Ashley did is she took old unpublished, this is her old stuff from 16, she pulled up old stuff that was unpublished and shared that. What better way to share that kind of content, that piece that never made it, that book that wasn't quite fully formed. Sharing those ideas in this arena is kind of safe, and it provides this behind the scenes content that people really react to. Okay, so Pete the cat, I just love what he's doing. So it is imperfect. It's him, and he's so relaxed, and he's such like a chill guy, and he's just kind of in front of the camera. It feels so natural, but he's making these deep connections with people at the same time. So, okay, so in this one, I'm gonna kind of scrub through it. Highly suggest you go back and watch them because they do feel like a little inspirational. Like, oh yeah, I could do. So there's a lot of silliness where he's, you know, he's got a Pete the cat toy.
I saw a comment and then so it's Cleo. So happy birthday, Cleo. I'm going to read yours in a minute.
So he's wishing his fan club, or the Pete the Cat Club members, happy birthday in this video. But it creates these deep connections Another thing I want to talk about is, I don't know if you guys saw it, but in his video, that video had, I think, under 5,000 views. I want to talk about that for a minute because he doesn't have 100,000 views on that. He doesn't have 500,000 views on that. And you think about Keith the Cat and how big the brand is. So he's trying something new, and he's starting kind of at the same level that you guys are starting at. You know, like certainly he has swag, he has the books, and he has the stuffed animals, but he doesn't have an Instagram TV audience yet. So he's building that. If he's creating from his 5,000 views, 500 evangelists, and you have 20 views, you're going to create 2 powerful evangelists that go out, and then you have double the spreading word of 2. It's hard to start from 0, but I think everybody does, you know, that he's doing it too. Okay, and this is Random House. So I wanted to share this. It's an adult example that I wanted to show off that adults are using Instagram TV too, and not just kids. These are conversations with the authors
Between an employee at Random House
and one of their authors. There are a lot of faces. I think the takeaway is that the behind the scenes stuff, seeing who's working at Random House and connecting with them is really working for creating those connections. Okay, we're moving on to Facebook. We're still in the world of video, moving on to Facebook. I did just want to invite you to click, if you go to Facebook and you don't spend a lot of time on Facebook video, going over here to the watch zone, you can really see how much this channel is being used to share video. So, okay, this is a Penguin Random House example for fantasy. I love it for several reasons. Also, it's a game show they made. I don't really understand the timeline of it because it's May 5th and no one's wearing masks. So it may have been pre-recorded. But what they do is they ask this question. So should dragons be pets? The question is discussed a lot in the fantasy world. So what they did is they put together a panel of fantasy authors. This can be done without the high production value. This can be done on a Zoom call, like digging in and just having a conversation about one of these sort of trending topics and bringing other authors together. Is a super cool idea that a publisher can do, or an author can bring together a community and do this as well.
Dragons, cute pets or dangerous threats? We'll find out this week on The Great Fantasy Debate. Yeah! Welcome, I'm your host, Abby. Now let's meet our debaters. On my left is the Swole Trolls. Captained by Tochi Onyebuchi, author of Beasts Made of Night, War Girls, and Riot Baby. And to help Tochi with his ideas, the wonderful comedian Sarah Smallwood Parsons. And opposing them is the Elf-Fulfilling Prophecies, with team captain Naomi Novik, author of the 9-book Temeraire series and the Nebula award-winning novel Uprooted. Assisting her is comedian Jay Jordan. Now you won the coin toss. Swole Trolls, you have 1 minute to present your team argument should you own a dragon. Now it's time to slay your king.
You should absolutely be allowed to own dragons.
Number 5. Henry James versus H.G. Wells. These 2 great artists started in good standing. Henry James, older and more established, initially praised H.G. Wells as the most interesting literary man of his generation.
This week's writing tip is about overcoming your fear and getting ready to write your story. I have to admit, when I first started writing The Hate U Give, I was terrified. I didn't know what people would think. I wasn't sure the book would ever find readers. I wasn't even sure that it was worth telling the story because you never know what people will say.
Hey guys, it's Chocolate Lovers Month, which I bet you did not know because literally why would you? But that's why I'm here, to entertain and inform. And I thought it'd be fun to go through some of my favorite chocolates that you can buy internationally, locally, and just tell you about them so you can try them too. So when I first moved to LA, I used to walk by this place called John Kelly Chocolates in Central Hollywood. And it looked like only like the richest, fanciest people went in there. And I said,
Facebook Lives. Here are some stats. Facebook Lives, live videos produce 6 times as many interactions as traditional videos. They get 10 times more comments than regular videos. Their search popularity increased by 330% in just 1 year. I believe that's 2018 to 2019. Facebook Live users watch Facebook Live videos 3 times longer than pre-uploaded videos. So that's pretty impressive. That's why we're talking about it. Okay, so I wanted to share with you Jennifer Weiner and what she does. And I wanted to really talk about a few things that she's doing. One is that she's selectively transparent. You go here and you think, oh my gosh, she shares every moment of her whole life. She shares every thought that she has on Facebook Live. But that's not the case. She really shares only 3 areas of her life. Challah making, she makes challah on Facebook Lives and kind of talks through while she's doing the braids and has a conversation there. She shares her garden, and of course she shares her books. And that is it. It is relatable and open. She's 100% making relatable and open content. But at the same time, she's really sharing only parts of her life. She's looked at her backlist, and she created the Baby Got Backlist book club. She created the event online. So she said, we're going to discuss little earthquakes at 7 o'clock on Thursday night. And she promoted it, and then she put the content up. So now she's got an opportunity to connect about backlists, but also an opportunity to talk about the new book that was coming up when she did this. So it was really cool use of Facebook Live, and now she has this great content to show off. This is her challah making video, and I just wanted to point out this, that even in this moment where she is doing this thing that seems unrelated to books and publishing, she's got her branding there. She's got her book branding. So it is pretty cool.
It's huge. It's enormous. It's the banana. It's called Miss Blake.
The salad dressing is also really delicious. So you could use that for a black bean and corn salad. You can use that for just like a regular romaine salad with some chicken. But it's one of my quick fix dressings that I.
So I have been sent a copy of the graffiti DC Vertigo edition of the Sandman Overture, and I've got my box here. First things first.
Okay, Facebook and Instagram stories. I want to talk about those. They're also another way that video is being used. Even this screenshot is a little outdated. There are now 500 million daily users of Instagram stories and 300 million daily active users of Facebook stories. So if you're not using stories, it's definitely something to consider. I wanted to show you this one because it does a couple of different things. First, for stories, you can save them up at the top. So if you're not using stories, but you've seen those on other people's Instagram, those are the saved stories. But what Jenny Han does in this example is she says, text me. She doesn't want to use Instagram DMs. What she wants to do is talk over text. So not everybody is going to be open with this level of personal connection, but that was her preferred platform. So she said, text me. And then she does something very cool, which is to share examples of people actually doing this, right? So then she takes screenshots of the text conversations and shares them to her stories as well, which is this great social proof. It creates this great social proof cycle where more people are going to do it because they see that it's working for other people, right? So that's the same reason that we share author reviews. Oh yeah, I did want to say with the social proof idea, you can see that she's so personable. I think one of the reasons that this gets sticky is because people don't want to feel like they're bragging if they get a good review and they want, they want to share it, but they don't want to feel like, it's like that 80-20 rule. But the way she did it and the way she interacted and this, like, the fact that it feels like a conversation and it feels like a back and forth gives her permission to share this sort of brag. And I think that's, finding that line is cool and important.
Cover my address because I feel like some of you might already. What? Y'all. But for real though. For real.
You stuck your tongue down her throat after he did. I didn't kiss him. I heard the mess. He kissed me.
Super brief word on events. I wanted to talk about anyone who really loves to partner with bookstores and wants to work more on that. And one way to do that is to find the bigger authors in your genre, find the people that are doing amazing things in your genre, and then go check out their events page and check who they're partnering with, and see if there are opportunities to reach out to those groups and find a way to join in on a conversation. Sometimes it might be a one-on-one conversation, like I think a lot of Britt Bennett's conversations are going to be interviews, just Q&As with just her. But there are sometimes panel conversations and other things that you can join. So finding the right places to connect in this world where physical boundaries are less important is really one of the cool things you can do. This is a cool article. So this link will be in the presentation I'll share around afterward. But this link is about a socially distanced book event. So this guy went to the bookstore and had his event outside with masks in open air. It's an interesting idea. When you read the article, it didn't necessarily work great for him. But what I think it's a cool kernel of an idea of like, there are these moments where we can maybe hybrid connect video with in real life events now that things are kind of opening up, or there are little opportunities to work with bookstores or go buy a bookstore or whatever. There's just ideas there to be had depending on if you have a local bookstore that you love and if there's an opportunity to work with them. Okay, contests and giveaways are age-old tactic. I wanted to share this because it's fun.
Hello all, Jerry Saltz here to share a very special announcement. My new book, How to Be an Artist, is coming out on March 17th, and to celebrate its publication, I'm giving away 20 personal art critiques from moi to vous. It can be art like this, or it can be art like this. Or really, it can be anything in between, and we'll talk. Each winner will receive a video from me critiquing one piece of art that you've created. To enter, simply pre-order How to Be an Artist and fill out the linked form or enter for free via mail-in. How to Be an Artist is for everyone, for anything. New ways to break through creative blocks, getting the most from materials, navigating career challenges, and above all, finding joy in the work you do.
This is one that I worked on. This is an author, Dr. Zavaleta, who partnered and teamed up with somebody to do a giveaway. This brought in a lot of email. I'm going to talk a little bit about email too, but it brought in a lot of email signups for her, a lot of interest for both books. So she reached out and said, would you be interested in partnering, giving away both books? Yes, definitely. So this was a win-win for both authors as a bundle. This group, started by two authors, Jenna Bloom and Carolyn Levitt, got together and said, we want to do something for all these authors whose tours have been canceled. We want to do something for all these people who have, their plans have been really shifted. So created A Mighty Blaze. Now, these are the rules. She said, the rules for A Mighty Blaze are traditionally published in the US and released on a Tuesday, publishing after the date on which you're reading this. So those are the only rules to be part of A Mighty Blaze. It's a cool opportunity to team up with other authors and figure out how do we raise everybody's boat, And then also, if you're thinking about teaming up with other people and thinking about making these connections, Facebook groups are a really interesting and excellent way to do that. To be honest, anyone who's been on Facebook knows that there's a lot of garbage on Facebook. There's a lot of weird self-promotion that doesn't fit in with, it's not providing value. There's a lot of stuff on there. But when you can create those genuine moments and those genuine connections, there's a lot to be gained out of them too. Okay, email. I promised I was going to talk about email, and I want to touch on it for sure. The reason that everybody says start email list is this last piece. All these stats are interesting, but this last piece is really powerful. 60% of customers have made a purchase after receiving a marketing message by email. 12.5% have considered using the buy button on social media. So they're not even the same. Like, you know, it's really the way to convert the people. So if we think about that marketing funnel again, there's so much activity that we're doing on social media on the top, and then when we can get people in, it's much smoother and easier than to convert those people to book buyers. We just have to ask them to buy the book. Once they're signed up to your email, they really have already demonstrated that they like you and they like your content and they want to support you. So, so that is a list then that you own and you get to take with you into your next venture. I wanted to show this is this guy, James Breakwell of The Exploding Unicorn, had a really fun pinned tweet on his Twitter feed. So what he does in this pinned tweet is he says, hey, my newsletters are exclusive, which makes people obviously want to be part of exclusive things. And then he also offers the social proof. So he takes screenshots of people who are praising his work, and then shares them and says, like, sorry, you can't read the ones that came out, but you can read the next one tonight if you sign up now. So he's got 1 million followers. I think that's cool. And I also think it's cool to see an author at work. This was pinned on May 10th. I took a picture of it today, and I actually, for some reason, I cropped the likes, but it had 199 likes. So this author is, at the same time that he's got 1 million followers, he's working to convert those followers to newsletter, just like the rest of us are working on these things. So, okay, one of the main questions I get is like, yeah, but what am I supposed to talk about in my emails? Like, okay, I'm going to make this email list, but what am I supposed to say? So the answer is really anything. Like, it's okay to talk about a lot of different things. You can tell an anecdote that happened to you. You can talk about what's in the news. People want to hear from you about what matters to you. If your garden is blooming right now and you want to talk about it, absolutely share about that. Your favorite stuff, share what you're liking, what you're listening to, playlists, things that are exciting to you is what you share. Certainly the subject of your book. So making sure to touch on those topics, definitely. And then help and advice on what you can give. Like, what do you know about illustration? What do you know about poetry? What do you know about the world of publishing? Like, what can you offer for other people? The more value you can provide. Okay, now Amazon, yay! The last few minutes are going to be on Amazon because it's important. It's where books are selling right now. I want to talk about author pages and A+ content. I just had to share this because I think his author photo is so on brand, and it's just an example of how you can brand every part of your Amazon author page to the relationship you're trying to create with people. So I thought that was cool and wanted to share it. This is another one of my clients, and I wanted to share this because he's synced up here. He's his blog posts and his videos are all pulling into his Amazon page, so things are up to date. That's something I see over and over, is that an author's Amazon page was created when they launched their first book, and now they're on book 3, and it hasn't been updated, and it doesn't have up-to-date keywords in it. It's not really talking about what the author is doing now in the whole platform. So I think it's important to keep that up to date. I heard a statistic recently from ReaderLink, it's a distributor, that said Amazon pages with A+ content are converting at a 30% higher rate. So if you have ideas about that, if you've seen like one video that you posted be phenomenal compared to others, please send it along. Like, communicate that with your marketers. They have modules that you put into Amazon for the A+ content. And this is one of the examples of modules. This is another. This is Oliver Jeffers' page. So he's got an illustration with a review, and then he's got a couple other reviews here. This is what he said about his inspiration, and this is somebody else's review. So that's one. And then this is a product, but I really wanted to share it because it shows that you can have like a full banner. You can have this like extra text. I mean, it gives you an extra place to talk about things. You can even talk about step-by-step things. Like you can really show off these ideas in a cool way and be creative. And I would love to do some of that with you. Anyway, we'll talk more about it. So during this pandemic is the time to check on your author pages, check on your website, keywords and SEO, make sure you're up to date, update your author bio across all your platforms, check out Goodreads and Twitter if you've been inactive on those platforms, like finding ways to rejoin the conversation, share content that matters to you. And I think this last point might be one of the coolest or one of the best ideas is figure out what else you can create, like with the content that you already have or with tangential content. Can you brainstorm essays? Have you written other things that you could then now transform and pitch to places? Can you write op-eds about something that you care about? Are there blog post topics that you can really bring out in this moment? Because I think these conversations are really what is attracting new readers to authors in this pandemic moment where everybody's online and everything's online. Okay, last points. Phew. I wanted to say, post it again. The repetition is okay. I think we don't do enough of that as people on social media. If you go check out bigger brands on social media, almost all the time, especially on Facebook and Twitter, they're posting their content multiple times and posting it in multiple different ways. So post it again. Do the repetition, post whatever worked for you or whatever even didn't work for you last year, post it again and see if you get different reactions to it, you know? So you have this content, it belongs to you, anything that you've created before. So try it again, shift it, change it, give it a facelift, whatever, send it back out. Set small goals, you know, just decide like, okay, I need 100 more Twitter fans, and I'm gonna do that by spending, you know the SMART goal routine. I'm going to do that by spending, 10 minutes a day in the morning and 10 minutes a day at night, replying and retweeting other people, and make that goal within a month or something. So you just set up the goal. Just go back to that sort of basic SMART goal idea of really like identifying what you want to do and how you're going to do it, and work and focus on the behaviors, because I'll say it again, like it's a long game, and finding the thing that works for you might not happen overnight. So being willing to try and like do it in small steps and manageable steps and sustainable steps is really, really important. And then commenting and connecting is really what does the trick. Over and over again, that's what I see is people who take the time to create the relationship and comment back and seek out new conversations, seek out new people to talk to. Those are the people that I see growing their feeds, growing their audiences, and bringing in new readers. Thank you all so much. I can't wait to see what you create.